Hi, in 6.6, we're going to work with discounts and markups. So you're going to be following along in your foldable, but first I want to show you some percent bars that are not in your foldable. First, looking at the screen, I think we all know that a discount is a decrease in the original price of an item. So we're going to be calculating what the new sale price is in a couple different ways. And then we're also going to work with markups, which we really haven't talked about yet. But if you're a store owner, you would want to mark up the price of something you bought so that you can make a profit on it. And that's called a markup. And you really do it in the same way that you figure out how to add on tax or tip. It's similar to what we've been doing already. So let's go. Let me show you those percent bars. So here's our first example with a percent bar. So it's a $100 item that's 30% off. So we're finding the sale price. If you look at our percent bars always go from 0% up to 100%. And in this case, because the 100% of the item is $100, that's what 100% is. So this one is a pretty easy one to calculate. So one way we could do that is to think about what amount we're getting taken off of the price. So that's what the red bar is the 30% less. So if you think about that, you're taking off 30% of $100. So because this is 30%, that's how much less you would pay. Or you could figure out the percent that you would pay. So if we take away 30% from 100%, we are left with 70%. So we could calculate the sale price in two different ways. We could take our original price, $100, and we could take away 30% of $100 to get to the sale price, or we could figure out the percent we pay, which is 0.7, 70%, and multiply $100 by that. Either way, we're going to get the same price, that our sale price would now be $70. So you can offer that two ways, and you can also do the part, finding the part, with a proportion, if that's what you prefer. Okay, so let's look at another example. So now our percent bar represents the whole price, which is $200. So that's here, and that's 100%. And our item is 80% off, which is an amazing sale, isn't it? So we're going to show you what that 80% is. It's this whole red bar. I'm just going to write on it, minus the 80%. And what's left is 20%. So this blue bar is what you would pay for the item. So just to kind of repeat what we did in the last example, we would either find what $200 minus 0.8 of 200 is, or we could just do 0.2 times 200. Either way, we're going to get that we're going to end up paying $40 for the item now that it's on sale. Okay. Our last percent bar is showing our first markup. So say you're a store owner and you buy an item for $100. You want to sell it for more than that to make a profit. So you're marking it up 30%, and you're wondering what the sale price is. So first, this blue bar represents what the item was to begin with. Oops, I didn't put that on top. Okay, but anyway, that's our 100%. And then we're marking it up this 30%. So that's going above 100%. So now, if you think of it, what you're doing is either taking your item, which was $100, and adding on 30% of 100. Notice how now we're adding that because it's being marked up. So that's one way. Or we could add up our percents, and 100% plus 30%. Now we're here, and it's at 130%. So you could do 1.3, just write it in decimal form, times 100 to get to what you're marking up the item to, which would end up being $130. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to go through the examples in your foldable. The first one being find the sale price. So look at the shorts, they're 25% off. I'm going to go through both methods on how you could find the sale price of the shorts. So our first method would be just to take away from $35. So we start with $35. That's the regular price, and we're going to be taking away 25% of $35. That's method one. Remember that you have to do this multiplication first in the order of operation. Then you do 35 minus. Your calculator will do it though, because your calculator's smart if you type that all in one sequence. For method two, we have to think about the percent we're paying. So if it's 25% off, 100% minus 25%, what we're really paying is 75% of the original price. So we could go 0.75 times 35 to get our answer. So whichever method you choose, you're ending up with a sale price of $26.25. So you decide which method you prefer. This is just showing the little study tip about the percentage you're paying is 75% and showing a percent bar that this is where you end up at 75% of $35. Okay, let's go on to find the percent discount on your foldable. Example one. So you do this exactly like we've been doing percent of change, so that's nice, nothing new, because we want to see, well, how much did the price change by to see, well, what was that discount? So you have to do that same method we did in the last section. We have to take the original minus the new price and divide by the original price. We end up with 20 over 80, which is a fourth. And that is, quickly, that's going to be 0.25, and 0.25 is equal to 25%. And you can always check your answer and try out what's 25% of 80 and make sure you get 60. Okay, so you're going to be trying the other example in your foldable. Here's I bet you didn't know. Okay, moving on. So now we're up on the top right, finding the original price. What that means is that you're working backwards to find the original price. In this case, we know what the sale price is and we know what the discount is. So we are wondering, well, what was the original price? It's kind of like finding the hull that we did back in 6.3 and 6.4. Okay, the only thing really different about this is that there's that all-important step, which is non-optional. So put a big star here, that if the item was 20% off, you have to figure out what percentage you pay. So you would be paying 100% minus 20%, or you'd be paying 80% of the original price. So that's important. So now we know that our part is $47.96. And our percent is 80%. So we can find the hull. And you learn two ways to do that. With the equation, you could do 47.96 and divide it by 80% written as a decimal. Or you could use the proportion and say 80 over 100 is equal to 47.96. Oops, 96 over x. And either way you solve it, you end up with the original price, which ends up being $59.95. Okay, here's another bet you didn't know. Did you know that? You probably did. Okay, and here's our last example. So now we are the store owner, and we want to mark up the bicycle. So we buy the bicycle for $70, and we want to mark up that price 20%. And we're seeing, well, what are we going to sell it for? What is that going to end up being? So there's two ways to do that. You could take the bicycle price of $70 and you can add on 0.2 of 70. So notice how we're adding it on because it's a markup. Okay? And our other method is to add up our percentages. If we're adding 100% on to 20%, we're really going to be ending up at 120%. So you can multiply by 1.2 times 70. And you end up with selling it at $84. Okay, and here's another. Oh, there is no bet you didn't know. Oops, false alarm. Okay, so we just went through all 4 examples. They were the number ones in your foldable, except for the first one that ends up being 1 and 3. They're both the same problem, which I did by accident. So what you're going to do right now is you're going to do the remaining problems in your foldable and use those examples to help you. So all the remaining problems should be the number 2 problems. So you want to do those problems and then you'll be checking your answers.